There's nothing to be done. We're simply here. Just this presence experiencing itself as all of these bodies here together. And if ever we get distracted following a thought train or some sensation in the body, a sound in your environment, just using that to show you, remind you that you're present to it, present to the thoughts, the sensation, the sound. Still here as presence itself. And there's no goal to this meditation. We're not trying to achieve anything. Just resting as presence. Whatever comes and goes, we're simply present to it. Even when thoughts arise and take our attention, still we are present to those thoughts. Presence is what you are, and you're always here as this presence. Presence is unchanging no matter what appears in front of it. always here, always at peace, never absent. And now becoming present to itself, recognizing itself. And just noticing the presence that is you. You're here, you're present, present to the body, to thoughts, to anything that arises, any state that comes and goes, present to even this meditation. Let's not confuse ourselves with what we're present to, the passing phenomena. Let's recognize that which is presence is what we are. Just noticing the sense of being present. the simplest way of being is also the most real, just here as presence, before any definition, before any form. Just this. Presence is unborn, undying, and unchanging. It is unaffected by anything that it is present to, not affected by any thought, any sensation, any experience. Presence can't be seen with the eyes, can't be grasped with our hands, and yet it is the only permanent and stable essence of our being. So in a few moments, we will bring this meditation to a close, but simply because we end our meditation doesn't mean that anything happens to presence. Just bodies moving around and talking. Presence remains the same, always, always free, never suffering, always unaffected by anything. So whenever you'd like to, and only if you want to, can take a nice deep breath. Maybe open your eyes if you want to. Have a stretch. Have a drink if you need to. So I hope you enjoyed a taste of being the presence that you are. And it may seem weird that we have to practice to be what we are already, but we're very good at being what we are not. So a little meditation, a little practice to simply rest as presence is always helpful. And every time we experience who we really are, it's always a little clearer, a little more deeply known, and begins to pervade our mind and our body. And this presence can then begin to express itself consciously when it recognizes itself, that it's here in human form, appearing as a human being, but can consciously recognize itself and begin to express itself consciously without any fear of any death, without any suffering, with the knowing that for all eternity you will be exactly as you are right now, and that you could never change or be hurt. There's something very powerful there for us to recognize in this. For me, it took many, many seeings of this again and again and again, resting like this in meditation as what we really are. And also self-inquiry, some contemplation as well, to undo these ideas about what I thought I was. So if anyone would like to share their experience of meditation, I'd love to hear. Or if you have a question you'd like to ask or a challenge that you're currently having in your awakening, feel free to raise your hand. We'll go with Leen.
Sorry, switch on the lights. Hi, Helen.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you so much for the meditation. That was really nice. Very nice. In fact, I have a question about what you just talked about just before you asked for the questions. It's about fear and death and the body. Like I regularly, I mean, there are more and more moments that I see that there is no body and no mind. I have no body and I have no mind. And like then I notice that I'm really completely free and that I'm safe in these moments, which is wonderful. um, but there's also moments that that it's often also that it's not like that, or I have the impression that this is becoming more and more the case, but it's still so often that it's not. And here, like I'm now in my van and I'm traveling, and 1 or 2 days ago, I don't remember, I was looking for a place to stay with my van, and it was nighttime. And at some moments, because I was looking for a place, I was walking around in a forest in the dark by myself, and and suddenly I felt like quite vulnerable, and there was like a kind of fear of death that came up, and then I thought, like, I must be thinking that I'm a body if this is coming up. But then I also wondered, like, maybe this is also, well, I think I'm confused about this, probably because it's not so clear. But like the body will probably still have instinctual reactions. I don't really know that, in fact. But like sometimes there's like a kind of confusion about, I mean, there is only one substance.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's really clear and it's completely insubstantial, it just appears as a form, but there are no forms. But then, like, sometimes it seems as if there's still like this world still appears with its own rules. Like, and this body could die. I mean, it will die at some point by whatever way. But do you understand my confusion or not?
It's it feels like we're living on two different levels, right? When one level we could say, and I really already don't like what I'm saying here, this level thing, and they're on two levels. I know you know that, but on one level there's formless presence only appearing as all this world. And the deeper our awakening goes, the more we know that nothing is really what it looks like. It is all empty presence appearing to be something, and there's nothing to be scared of, and all of that.
Mhm.
At the same time, this other relative existence, this appearance of a world and all these other beings, it still remains because it's always been presence. It's not going to change just because we're recognizing what it's actually made out of, or what all these forms are really made out of. And the body will go on functioning the way it's functioned, just as it's always done. And that will continue. And if, for example, the body was to get into a situation in the scenario that you mentioned, still the body would instinctively take whatever steps it could to protect itself. And the difference being there would be no suffering in that. There would be no fear, intense fear with that. And certainly no stories about what's happening.
Mhm.
Perhaps even this greatest story of all, which is I'm going to die, I might die, you know. The mind, mm, from my mind at least, thought that the body wouldn't be able to protect itself, wouldn't have any instincts or anything, without this sense of separate being running the show. But really, it's quite the opposite. Um, the body's much more able to, the body is presence, as you pointed to, and it's not just one body alone in one place. It's actually the whole universe. It's made of the whole universe, so it's deeply connected. And you might just have this feeling, I shouldn't really walk alone tonight. Um, or maybe I'll go park somewhere else, find somewhere else. The body is totally in touch with the appearance of this relative world. And it has a natural intelligence as presence, which will show itself, right? You won't notice that already.
Mhm.
Could call it instinct or just the intelligence of who you are.
Mhm.
It can function really, really quite well like that.
Yeah, sometimes I notice that also, just that I just end up in the right places or just get the right information, and this is happening more. I notice that indeed.
Yes.
But so if there was like this moment in the forest at night, um, then, like, it must be that there, like, at that moment I believed that I was that I had a body, and more like a sense of separation. If that's completely absent, then the body might maybe avoid that place or run away, but there would be no like fear or no suffering or no, that's what you say, huh? Because um you know that nothing really dies.
Yeah, the body with its natural intelligence, perhaps you wouldn't have ended up in that area at all. The sense of separation when it appears again distorts the body's ability to function from the highest place.
Mm.
And so we get a little muddled. We might find ourselves in a situation that we're really not too sure about. It doesn't feel so safe. But the body is quite capable of turning around and walking away or driving away without that contraction and all of those, taking steps to protect itself
Mhm.
uh, from those forms where it hasn't recognized itself yet, the presence, and it's still very much in separation and, in a very contracted state.
But would there also be, like, if you, I just wonder, like, when this really deepens and you know that there is no danger whatsoever, wouldn't there be some kind of, I know it's maybe strange, but like some kind of longing to take risks to see what is possible?
No,
No.
no. There's only a deep love and respect for the presence showing up as the body and for the opportunity that we have in human form that no other species has on the planet.
Mm,
You couldn't intentionally harm your own body or put it in a situation where it may get harmed any more than you could potentially harm anyone else.
mm,
It just could not happen. Um, to take a risk would really only be from an egoic place anyway, right? To feel something from a place of separation, to feel a buzz of excitement or something.
mm,
And that is like a drop, one drop of water. The biggest buzz or thrill you could have ever is like a tiny drop of water in an infinite ocean of peace, joy, love, everything you could possibly want to feel. And it's just not appealing.
mm.
It's just
Yeah.
not even, it just wouldn't be possible.
Mm,
There's a deep, deep respect for what this really is, and a deep gratitude for the opportunity to recognize ourselves by the contrast of the body moving and changing and growing and all of that.
mm.
So
Yeah, that
um,
makes.
I haven't had any urges to go bungee jumping or skydiving yet. I'll let you know if I do.
I would be surprised.
Those things weren't really all that appealing to me before awakening, so who knows?
Yeah. But I also didn't mean it also in anyhow in a way of like I also really wouldn't want to harm this body or anybody, definitely wouldn't, but more like as like a way to see that you're completely safe. But I understand what you mean, huh? That
Can that
um
can
from
that
these
come from
moments.
any experience though? Is the knowing that you are totally safe and have always been. It's not going to if you're in a potentially dangerous situation and some miracle happened where you were completely safe. From the awakened state, that would just be obviously what was going to happen. And no experience can tell you more about yourself than you know already. I am freedom, I am
Mhm.
safety, so
Yeah, that's true.
it wouldn't confirm or strengthen anything in that way. It would only
Mm,
agree with what you're already certain of
mm.
inside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand also what you mean. I think it's like more like the idea, look, when you have a lucid dream and then you're like, but it's not the same, huh? But like when then you're suddenly aware that you're awake and like, oh, now I can do anything. I can start flying. I can do this and this and this. But yeah,
Mm.
it's,
Experience becomes, you probably notice it yourself, experience becomes less and less um, exciting. They're just experiences, and we're not trying
mm,
to get anything out of those experiences anymore. So it doesn't matter whether it's a really good or a really bad experience. It's kind of got the same flavor to it,
mm,
and it's only the tiniest part of your experience in that moment. 99% of what is happening is what's stable and real and completely um, at peace and
mm.
joyful. Yeah.
Yeah. Some experiences still feel like they have some kind of pull, a bit, I think. Um, but at the same time, yeah, these moments when there's like clarity, like there's just so much deep happiness and like this is beyond all of that. That's also clear.
When are you not clear as presence?
When I'm not clear, sorry.
When are you not clear?
Yeah.
Moments of clarity, are they happening in front of you? It's appearing to that which is always clear.
Yeah.
Present to clarity and then separation and then clarity and then separation and clarity and separation. Clarity,
Mm.
clarity, clarity, separation. I'm still watching, right? From the totally clear place.
Yeah, it's true. See
Don't
what you
settle for moments of clarity. Don't buy that.
mean.
Just really focused on what is already free and always free.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I would like sometimes I forget that, I think.
We all do for a while. I certainly did.
Mm.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Helen.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, the lights rolled out.
It's okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
perfect timing.
Yeah.
Would anyone else like to ask a question or share something? Anyone have any issues or anything you're struggling with that you'd like some help with? I see Barbara.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So good to talk to you, Helen. And thank you so
Talk to
much.
you.
We had some exchanges on WhatsApp, and I'm very, very grateful to you for everything which you do.
Thank you.
A lot of questions are coming on the back of the conversations that you just had. So this sentiment of the true self not wanting to hurt the body, and it's very interesting what I've been observing over the last few months when this process of awakening is really bringing up a lot of issues, and I found myself reverting to some smoking and drinking, which I haven't been doing for a very long time. So that's quite interesting. So that's one thing that if you could offer some reflections would be really helpful. And also on the back of what was discussed before, is that I'm thinking about financial, like planning for the future, right? There is no future. It's only now. But is it not part of I don't know, just taking care of the body in the best way we can, thinking about how to provide for the body, or how to make the best decisions, financial decisions. And it's very clear to me that my mind cannot do it. I mean, I've been trying desperately,
Yeah.
and it's not working. So I'm in this very kind of strange liminal space where I know that the old ways of strategizing and planning are just not working at all. And yet the new ways are not completely clear yet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a kind of a weird in-between thing, isn't it? Yeah. It's helpful to ask, what does presence, or what does the self or the noumenon or consciousness, what does it want to do here? What do I want to do here? To just even ask that question. And just because there's a recognition there's no past or future, it's as we were just saying before with Leen, there's still the body inherently knows how to look after itself, and any other bodies that may be dependent on your body, children or spouse, and planning or investing or saving or paying off debts, financially, all that stuff. It can still happen, and probably will happen much more effectively and efficiently. For example, if you were going to invest some money that you had and try to, help it accumulate, maybe as a person, we might sit there and consider all these options and tie ourselves up in knots with which company we should go with, and all of that. From the awakened way, there's a looking at the options and a kind of feeling which one feels best. I'm going to
Mm.
go with this one, and it's not a intellectual, there might be some thoughts going on about it, but it's not an intellectual decision. This one just feels really good. This one feels right. There's something here with this one. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to go with this one. So planning, strategizing, all of that may happen, but it's coming from straight out of the silence, the emptiness, Like we had to plan this class. We need to know what time for all of us to come together, or a retreat or something. Um,
You make it sound so easy. But
that's
actually what
that's
it's now, it's like,
that's
oh,
exactly
there is
what's
all these things
happening.
to clean first.
This is what's already happening. If you look back
Mm,
at any decision you think you've made, and just, everyone can do this right now. If we just pick a decision that we think we've made in the
mm,
past, really all we can say with there are a lot of thoughts about
mm.
particular options.
Yeah.
And then finally the body moved towards one of those options. Really, that's the only thing we can prove.
Mm-hmm.
We can't actually prove that all that thinking actually achieved anything. Maybe the body was always going to move towards one of those options at a certain time, and it did.
Mm,
So nothing is changing over. We're just seeing that planning has always been spontaneous, right? Just arising. There seems to be a decision that needs to happen,
mm-hmm.
and there's just less and less weighing up of options, endlessly waking up in the middle of the night trying to figure out what to do. There's just, let's just see what happens here.
Mm. I
So,
actually did, prompted by you, I actually did look at the decision that I thought was about financial decision, and it was quite shocking to look at it from that perspective. And actually, if I was completely honest with myself, obviously there was a lot of blame coming up as well. How stupid were you, la la la. But if I just stuck to the facts, I could see, well, they were just thoughts, some anxious emotions, thoughts, um, probably some, patterns from the past. And then the body started moving and arranging meetings and whatever. And it was actually quite um, shocking to me
yeah.
to see it in this way.
At one
Yeah.
time, I wanted to prove it to myself that I wasn't actually making a decision. So I did it
Mm,
with something really simple. I tried to, uh, was going out for a meal, and it was always quite traumatic trying to choose what to wear because I was overweight and all of that stuff. So I just sat there with the options, and I'm not choosing. I'm not choosing. I'm not choosing. I'm not going to choose. And it was like 5 minutes before I had to go. And my body was just still sitting there in my bedroom. Okay, maybe I'm just nothing's gonna happen.
mm,
Be late, I'll have to phone them. All those thoughts were going. Finally, about 2 minutes before I had to leave, the body got up, picked up it was incredible to watch, picked up one of the outfits, put it on, and I'm walking out of the house getting my car keys, and wow. And it was a clear seeing that must have been what's happened every time. But I would
mm,
walk away going, I've chosen the wrong outfit. I should not have worn this. I don't feel good in it. Or I spent too much money on this. I shouldn't have done that, all of that stuff. And it's as all that falls away, there's much more life force in the body to feel, and that apparent decision arises much easier and faster and is very clear, very clear. This is the right thing, and this is not the right thing.
yeah. Can you offer some reflections about this smoking and drinking thing?
Yeah. Is there any emotion that comes up around it?
If, well, loneliness, um, and the sense of, I don't know if I can cope with this.
So usually it's an opportunity to recognize ourselves deeper. Perhaps if this had happened before smoking and drinking, for myself, drinking was a huge thing. And every time it resurfaced again, there'd be so much judgment of myself, so much judgment. With this understanding that I wasn't even choosing this, it was just arising again. Wasn't what I wanted, but I couldn't blame myself for this
I can
because it's
already
just,
feel like I'm shaking. I think it's just exposing it and saying it out loud
yeah,
on the recording. It just feels like something is already shifting.
yeah. So can you simply watch it without judgment? You'd prefer it didn't happen,
Mm-hmm.
but if it is happening, we can just not judge ourselves.
Mm.
And it might just be a reflection of an old pattern arising, this feeling lonely. For me, it was a way to avoid feeling anything, for a
Mm.
little while at least.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a clearer seeing that it came with its own challenges. It didn't really fix anything. And the judgment of myself, fell away when I realized I wasn't choosing even this. But it's here
Mm.
to show me something, and can I love myself more?
Mm.
And in its own time, it just stopped happening. It just wasn't. It was that the body needed something to compensate for my judgment of myself, which lowered the life force. Without
Mm-hmm.
the judgment, there was no need to compensate for anything.
Mm.
So could it be an opportunity for you to love yourself a bit
Yeah,
more? Also,
plenty.
it's also okay to know what you do want. I'd like a nice, healthy body. I'd like this to stop. But I'm not
Mm.
going to go into negation and self-rejection when it does happen.
Mm. Super. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Being right there. Thank you. Time are we? We have just 5 more minutes if anyone would like to ask anything. Anyone like to share something? Okay. Andres? Hi.
Mm. Hi, hello.
Good to see you.
Yes, good to see you too. Yeah, so I wonder why I forget so often mm, what really who really I am and go into struggling. Why is this movement so strong? Like I was wishing and willing to come and listen to you already for a while, and always it's like not possible and not possible. And like I tell myself, like my mind says, no, it's not possible. You must do this, you must do that. Now, in these times, I'm doing what I love most to do is creating a performance. Hey, I'm suffering. I could be enjoying is what I really like to do. I'm suffering there. And maybe it's very mental to ask myself, why do I forget and go directly into this kind of struggling with stuff?
Do you forget though? Do you as presence forget who you are? Something is forgetting, but let's really look at this. This is like this was a fundamental shift when I really saw this.
Maybe I don't know. When you ask me this, I immediately say no, I don't forget, but I don't understand why I am suffering and struggling.
Mm.
Well, I mean, it's of course it's not me, but I'm there. This is, in a way, the experience of suffering is happening.
So whatever our body is experiencing, suffering or pleasure or whatever, it's going to be a reflection of what's going on in our consciousness.
Mhm.
So if we think somewhere deep down that we have to remember who we are and that we can forget who we are, there's going to be an imagining that we've got to make a great effort to remember, to remember, to remember, to remember. But when we, like in a meditation earlier, when we experience presence that we are, it's not a remembering, it's a seeing of what's always here, isn't it?
Mhm.
So can you let go of this idea that you even need to remember or forget, that that's even possible for you?
Mm.
Not just that I don't need to make any effort, more like I can't make effort. This idea that I have to remember, I can remember and I can forget.
Mm.
We believe it's with such conviction that it's like a
Yeah,
thorn inside, right?
but this comes out of the fact of being suffering. So then I think about it, I try to understand what's going on and say, okay, this is because I forget. Uh, so this is the way it works inside me.
What if you change that to, instead of this is because I forget, to this is because I think I can forget
Yeah, of course.
and I think I can remember. But
Yeah.
those are states that are happening in front of you, the presence, forgetting, remembering, swinging back, the forward this way, and then
Mm.
really over this way, and then really over this way. And it gets more and more painful until
Mm.
we finally, can I even do that? Am I the one forgetting and remembering? I'm going to give up even this imaginary role for myself. I am. I am
Mm.
presence. I'm not changing. And then the experience of the body and mind reflects that unchangingness, peace that's always here, and spontaneity, vitality, all those things you were saying.
Mm.
So next time you feel I've lost it, I must get back, I must remember. Okay,
Mm.
wait a minute. No, I'm not buying that.
Mm.
I am. That's
Mm.
it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
No, no work for you to do, right? Not spiritually anyway.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. It's
This
like
is
a trick. Yeah.
this is everyone's question, right? It's everyone's question. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
See you again. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I will hand it back to you, Shauna. Thank you everyone for your wonderful participation and for having me here again. Thank you so, so much. Lots of love.
Thank you so much, Helen, and everyone who came for the Awakening Together Satsang with you every month in the company of truth. Thank you so much, Helen. And you will not be with us October 1st, but you will be with us November 5th.